Hi, folks. Welcome in. Seven Rivers Racing here in KQEG TV. I'm Dan Dyker along with Al Losi as we are at the halfway point of racing at the La Crosse Fairgrounds Speedway. And Al, I think you will probably agree with me that the late model race that we're about to see here Saturday night is going to be separation night.
Yes, and we were talking about this before we went on the air, how they have changed how they line up the cars. You've got the points leaders in the back of the invert. You've got the faster cars towards the back of the invert. Not only that, you got 24 cars out there now that are fast. We haven't been out there every week, and when we were out there, we thought we were fast, and we were just one of many. And so the difference. And you've got the two features. As an announcer, you're going to have a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, I always like when we bring out the double 20s because there's so many dramatics that can come into play. I mean, number one, you really have to follow who's doing what and who can do what. I mean, you have people like, Bill Niles, who is just on the cusp of doing something special. Yes. Someone like Harley Jankowski has a feature win this year. He's also on the cusp of possibly doing something special. And if you look at the races coming up this Saturday night, we have two 20-lap features for the NASCAR late model drivers. That is what I think plays in most interesting is who's going to be the spoiler.
And you're right. There's a spoil that's going to happen. Could Matt Henderson get his first win? Could Cole Howland move on up? Harley Jankowski showed that this year you can get out there and win without being one of the quote-unquote big boys. Now, you do have Kirchner up there. He's going to be up there no matter what in points, and he's going to be a threat to win. But this week, they announced this past week that for each feature race, the teams are going to each be able to buy one tire for each race. So now there's a lot of planning going on back at the shop. Do you buy two right sides for each race? Do you buy a left side tire so that'll help you through the rest of the season? This is really going to be, as you said before we got on the show here, this is going to be a game changer this weekend.
Yeah, this is really, you're going to find probably three drivers in the late model class that are going to separate themselves from the rest of the pack. I mean, even if you have a spoiler, Tim Nelson or Jankowski or someone that can come up and try to grab a win, maybe even Mike Carlson. I think you're going to find a lot of interesting things as we're going to talk more about that through the program, as this will be separation week for the late models and possibly a separation week for the Thunderstock class. We're going to start things off recapping last Saturday night's races, and after qualifying fifth Saturday night with a quick trip NASCAR late models, Brent Kirschner, the Honey Badger, showed that he is here to win a championship this year. About this time last year, he was already out of the points race, said, I'm just here to win races. Now it's a whole different story and strategy for Brent Kirschner. Captured the late model feature win at La Crosse Fairgrounds Speedway, and it moved him second in the point standings, 13 behind leader Todd Korish and 1 in front of Sean Paff. Paff is rounding out the top three point-wise. This was a pretty decent race right here. We had some early interesting things go on with Jay Herbst. Got into a three-wide mangle with Nick Clements and another car coming out of turn one, and Jay just could not get things back up to speed for the rest of the night. But that's going to set up a huge showdown this weekend, because you do have the top three in the points of Todd Korish, Brent Kirschner, Sean Paff. Paff is really chomping at the bit. Brad Powell is only 40 points back. I mean, I think that Brad Powell still has enough room in the race season to pick up some big-time points here if he can stay in his own car. Obviously, he won in Henderson's backup a couple of weeks ago, which was very impressive. But we know what he can do. Jay Herbst is fifth, followed by Mike Carlson, Matt Henderson, Cole Howland, Steve Carlson, Harley Jankowski, and Bill Niles. And I would think that the top three or top four, depending upon how the races shake down with 2 20-lap feature wins, I think we're going to be watching 4 drivers from here on out. And
you're looking at 4 drivers that have almost 4 completely different styles of driving.
Oh, yeah.
If you include Herbst in there, he's probably got a 5th different style of driving. You've got Korish, who's just so consistent. He's always out there, almost always finishes the races in the top 5, doing a very good job. Paff might be a little more aggressive, but he's there, again, stays off people's bumpers and does such a good job up there. You got Kirschner. Kirschner is an aggressive driver. He gets out there, not that he's always in accidents, but he gets out there and he gets after people and he runs up front, and he has been staying clean because he knows he's in a points battle, and I think it really would mean a lot to him, to Kirschner, to win a championship. Herbst is in 5th place. We know he can win a championship. And so you've got, and Powell, of course, he can drive the tires off of anything he gets into. So I think you've got 5 guys, 5 different styles of driving. It's going to be really cool how things shake out after this weekend, because like you said, there's probably going to only be 3 left after this weekend.
Sportsman last weekend, we're going to start with the big one. What a crash we had in the front straightaway. Former Rookie of the Year Brian Hesselberg. Wrong place at the wrong time. As you watch the video footage here, the 75 of Justenberg. He had problems earlier in the night. This was only lap 3. Not sure if he had something that was broke or what was going on, but he gets loose right there. He goes sideways. That brings Hesselberg sideways. Just when you think the front end is seen enough, here comes Randy Haas. Bam! T-bone crash right there. Mark Chalet gets caught up in some of the sticky on the track. Backs his way into Haas. Hesselberg loses the front end and the driver's side. Chalet, because of the contact with Haas, Haas loses the front and back end. And that was a big one there. That was just turn 3, and it kind of set the stage for what was about to happen for the rest of the night. As we show the last 2 laps of the feature win, the other Haas took advantage of a very strong car. I tell you what, Aaron Haas has been very impressive this year. He's not been a stranger to the victory lane, and as you're going to see here, with a big group of cars dogfighting each other all the way through the mid-pack of this one here, Aaron Haas cleared everybody, including Rob Mason and Rick Schermerhorn, who were both mighty fast on Saturday night.
Aaron, he's got so much experience out there. He's been in late models. He is someone that I would really like to see make that jump to late models.
It's a nice finish right here coming up with Schermerhorn, who's always up front. Rob Mason, second time back at the track, and he's just picked up where he's never left off from just about a year or 2 ago. Brandon Berg got his nose in there, as did Jared Logging, trying to keep this one close. And as Aaron Haas finishes with the checkered flag flying above the 0-1 car, we look at the point standings here. And again, this could be a separation Saturday night coming up for the Sportsman. Randy Humpfeld has a 16-point lead over the always faster Jake Arneson. 23 points back is Greg Scheck. He's always a threat to win a feature almost any given night. And even Matt England now is only 41 points back as the season comes to the halfway point for the Sportsman. Aaron Haas, Jack Litchheim, Brian Hesselberg, Jamie Dummer, and Jared Logging round out the top 10. So you've got 2 groups, 2 divisions on Saturday night that we could see only 3 or 4 names hanging around.
And that's what lacrosse does, is they do such a good job of keeping the points races close, just because of how they have the points set up, that both divisions end up having to start the same way, putting the guys up front in points in back of the invert.
Well, we thought those 2 classes of drivers were close. Wait till we come back after this break. The Thunder stocks are very close. I'm looking at 5 different drivers that still have a shot at the championship. And if you look at the Hornet class, this one is crazy. 7 drivers, 20 points within each other. We're going to give you the recap from last Saturday and set things up for racing coming up this weekend when Al and I return here on 7 Rivers Racing.